Nicholas,
Morgan, Caitlin, and Kaylee.
I will be playing Tutmost 1, 2, and 3, and the main architects.
I will be playing a narrator, a servant, and a priest. I will be playing a narrator, a servant, a lady, a priest, and a advisor. I will be playing Hatshepsut. It was a hot day in Egypt, just the time for a banquet, and as Princess Hatshepsut rushed to it, her ladies waited in the banquet room. Hurry up or I'll be late for the banquet. Sorry, Your Highness, I keep tripping on your robes. Here we are. Good evening, my fair ladies and father. Hello, my good princess.
Isn't it a lovely day to celebrate the flooding of the Nile?
Come and sit down. Your servants have prepared a lovely meal. Wine, bread, fruit, and a perfectly cooked snake. For dessert, there will be sweetbreads, raisin bread, fried pastries, sweetmeats, and honey cakes. After the banquet, Hatshepsut retired to her sleeping chamber, and her ladies-in-waiting helped with her bedtime rituals before she tried to drift off to sleep. She tossed and turned for a while in her bed. She was happy, but longing for something she couldn't quite define. It had been a wonderful feast, and she should be as content as princess. But she wanted more power. Oh, servants, bring me my robe. What is for breakfast today? Your Highness, today we have prepared for you eggs fresh laid from your ostrich and pomegranates freshly picked from your trees. I will be there at my place at the table right next to my father, the great Pharaoh Tutmosis.
Hello, my dear daughter, the light of my life. Come and sit down next to me. Today we should spend some time together. Maybe we shall take a walk in the gardens or sit by the fountain and talk.
That pleases me well, Father, the greatest pharaoh of all.
Then, wonderful. Then it shall be. I have been feeling weak and unwell for a while, and now I long to spend some time with you, firstborn of my favorite wife, before I pass on to the afterlife.
Oh, Father, don't say that. You still have many years to live, and many great things to build and accomplish in this great land before your law leaves this world. You have pushed the borders farther than any pharaoh before, conquering rebellious Nubians on our borders. You have built many temples and are the first to build a tomb for yourself in the Valley of the Kings.
I am sorry, my dear daughter. If only you were my son, you would make a wonderful pharaoh and would continue my great feats. But instead, you are a woman and must be content to marry Tutmosis II and fulfill her duty to continue our great family line. He may only be my son from a lesser wife, but he is the next male heir to the throne. Marry him and be the support he needs to rule this great land. Daughter, don't let me down.
Father, please don't die. I love you. And the great king Tutmosis took his last breath, leaving his throne to Tutmosis II, a young sickly man who married Hatshepsut to secure his rule as king. Hatshepsut had been married to Tutmosis II for 2 months. To the great relief of many, they were now expecting a baby. What do you think we should name our new baby?
I think Mutnofret after my beautiful mother if it is a girl, and Tutmosis III after our father and me if it is a boy.
I don't think so. I have a feeling it will be a girl, and I will name her Nefertari, meaning the beauty of Ra. Your Highness, the funeral for your father is ready. Oh, finally! It has taken months for the priests to do the mummification rituals. It will be held in the temple and the burial on the west side of the river In the tomb the great pharaoh prepared for himself in the Valley of the Kings. Some years passed, and Thutmose II, accompanied by his great wife and queen, Hatshepsut, successfully put down rebellions in Nubia and defeated a group of nomadic people. He also built some minor monuments during his rule. After about 13 years, his health was failing and looked too weak to rule much longer.
My dear wife and queen, the love of my life, I fear I will leave you in this world to go to the afterlife soon. I must decide and name the next heir to this great throne of Egypt. Sadly, it cannot be you. Although I know you are well able to accomplish that task, it is not for a woman to rule. So I will name my son Thutmose III as next pharaoh of Egypt.
But he is only a baby. Not only that, he is from your lesser wife and not even one of my children. He is not from the strong and pure line of pharaohs, as I am. Perhaps you will live a little longer and we will have a son?
No, my queen, there is no time for that. I know this is not your desire, and you would rule Egypt well, and because of that, I will name you Lord Regent until Thutmose III is of age to rule Egypt. Protect and teach him well, so that he may be a strong and powerful pharaoh.
Yes, my pharaoh, I will protect and teach him, and will keep order and rule in his place until he is able to take the throne. Your Highness, the doctors are doing everything they can. Let us leave the pharaoh in peace to rest. The priests and magicians tried all that they knew to do to heal Thutmose II, but it was all for naught. 2 days later, he died, leaving the throne to Lord Regent Hatshepsut until Thutmose III was old enough to rule. What shall I do with this child? He is not mine, and I do not want to raise him. He is too young to rule, and may never be fit to be king, as I am. My queen, perhaps you can send him away from this palace and have him be raised by your trusted advisors. When he is old enough, he can be sent in the army to fight your battles for you. This way he is your ally and no real threat to you if you so choose to be king in his place. That is the best advice I have heard from you yet. Let it be done. I will trust you to raise the prince on my behalf. Train him well, but not too well. Ra be with you. A couple months later, Hatshepsut had big plans for Egypt. She ordered that an obelisk be built larger and more ornate than any before. She wanted it taller than her father's, which stood where it would stand. Chief Architect, I will let you in on my plans. I am going to become the first female pharaoh. The gods have decided that I'm the only one that is strong enough from the line of great pharaohs. In celebration, make me an obelisk out of the finest piece of pink granite from the quarries of Aswan. It is to be 97 feet tall and weigh at least 350 tons. It is to have an inscription at the base giving honor to me as rightful pharaoh.
Yes, my great pharaoh, this may take years and hundreds of thousands of slaves working non-stop, but we will finish this great obelisk in your honor, in honor of you.
That night, the first woman in Egyptian history became pharaoh. Now that I am pharaoh, to increase my power and ensure that my stepson does not take my place, I will announce that Amun-Ra took form as my father and married my mother, and they had me, so I am part God. Meanwhile, all this time, Thutmose III had been growing in strength and ability. He was now the general of Hatshepsut's army and was considered a military genius. He made 16 raids in 20 years, He is recorded to have captured 350 cities during his rule and conquered much of the Near East from the Euphrates to Nubia during 17 known military campaigns. He is remembered as one of the greatest of Egypt's warrior pharaohs who changed Egypt into a superpower by creating an empire that stretched from southern Syria through Canaan and Nubia. Although history shows that Hatshepsut and Thutmose III co-ruled Egypt for years, mostly Hatshepsut ruled the throne and Thutmose III ruled through battle. The death of Hatshepsut is widely disputed, but one theory is that Thutmose III grew tired of his stepmother ruling for him, and with this in mind, the ending of this play was written.
When will I become pharaoh? My stepmother is getting more and more powerful, and I only rule in title. I may have an idea of how to overthrow her rule.
Thutmose III went and fought one last battle for Egypt under the rule of Hatshepsut, but he knew in his heart he did it for himself. After winning the Battle of Megiddo, he decided to go to the palace to celebrate his victory and take his rightful place on the throne. During the feast, he sat next to Pharaoh Hatshepsut and knew this would be the last feast she ever had.
Servant, serve my mother this, the finest wine which I brought back from the conquered lands in honor of all that she has done for me in Egypt.
Yes, my prince. My Pharaoh, here is a gift from your stepson.
Oh, how lovely.
And it smells so wonderful and sweet. Oh my Ra, the woman Pharaoh is dead.
The next morning, the priest started the mummification process.
Get the lungs, intestines, stomach, and liver, and inside the canophic jars. They must be saved for the afterlife. Ew, I feel sick. I'm not sure I'm cut out for this job. What is this? Careful. Careful. That is the heart. It must come out of the body and be dried, and then placed back in. I pray that Pharaoh Hatshepsut's heart is light enough for the gods to accept it when it is weighed. Anubis will weigh her heart and decide whether it deserves to be devoured by Ammit or remain whole so her ba and Ka can meet up in the afterlife. And that is the end of the crown secret.